with entertainment and all besides, that was definitely one that gave it to us. So our penultimate race before the lunch break is DD2 and DD2 Masters. And the grid is as follows. Zandvoort Schublak, the reigning and defending DD2 champion from 2019, is on pole position, having done a great job in qualifying. Sebastian de Grand from Belgium is alongside his countrymen on the front row. David Remy from Sweden and Carl Klibbert are pole sitter in DD2 Masters and pretty much champion-elect in this class. Rounds out the second row. Lasse Andresen and Belgium's Jarne Gussens round out the top three rows. DJ Liveris in the 436 for Dames Racing is in seventh. Alongside will be Christoph Leinen in the 588, second in the DD2 Masters classification after qualifying. Then we have Christoph Adams in the 555, Jamie Billings in the 442, Fritz Vansen in the 527, Carl Klibbert's son Jordi in 12th place in the 410, ahead of Michael Becker in the 526, Andreas Schindler in the 515, Silvio Piperato in the 545, Wout Coulson in the 434, Conrad Bayer in the 508, Wout Antonissen in the 433. Tamsin Germain starting in 19th on the inside of row 10 with Roland Kinch alongside. And then Ronald Billings in the 541 rounding out the 21 strong. But Ronald is unfortunately not going to start this race. So again on this one, 11 minutes plus an additional lap. After this we will have our penultimate qualifying heat for the Cinemax division, which again will be 7 minutes in duration. This time for DD2 and DD2 Masters, it will be 11 minutes plus one additional lap. So the DD2 Masters title, I think still pretty much is in contention for both Zandvoort Schublak and Dionysius Liveris, and maybe even don't count out David Remy in this one, because I don't think it's set in stone until we cross the finish line later on this afternoon, and their final will be the penultimate one today here at Karting Genk. Our podium celebrations take place at 16:30 local time, where we will crown our 6 champions for 2019. And will we have some returning faces to the top step of the championship podiums? We'll find out very later on today. The whole field now bunching up into the 2x2 rolling start formation. A couple of stragglers in the at the back, including the likes of Conrad Bayer, Silvio Piperato, amongst others. So let's see if we get this one lights out and off and away for the first time of asking here. The drivers go into the tram lines, full start. Race control not happy with that, did not give the go-ahead to go racing. For those wondering how we can tell whether it's a full start, well, over the lights on the starting gantry, there's a red light which will normally go out if we get a clean start. And if it is a full start called, there will be an amber light alongside for good measure. So the timer will be reset to 11 minutes. The red light is now reignited on the starting gantry here at Karting Genk, the home of champions in the Limburg region in Belgium. Around about a 3-hour drive from Calais. So a total of 20 drivers from DD2 and DD2 Masters respectively. And the good thing is that it's nice to see that Schublak and De Grand are keeping things in order. They want to get them all in line and get them ready. They are now set and focused at the task at hand, which is to concentrate on the start procedure. So the drivers now taking those little bit of couple of activation steps here. Maybe trying to, you know, when they go from side to side, trying to see if they can warm up the tyres. It's something that a driver does to steel themselves ready to go into battle. This looks to be a little bit closer formed, this grid. Do we go lights out second time around? Yes, and a great run there from David Remy, who tries to slingshot past Sebastian de Grand and has the inside run of the Belgian. And Grand goes really, really wide. Oh no, he goes spinning. That's a full 360 for Sebastian de Grand. He came into contact ever so slightly there with Dames Racing teammate. It looks like DJ Liveris, who got a really good purchase coming out of turn 2, went to go up the inside. De Grand was hung out way on the outside and was caught spinning. And we got somebody else going way off the outside of turn 6. So not just drama in juniors, we've had it in DD2 and DD2 Masters already. So it looks like that we've got Shivlak in the lead, Remy in second. Third place looks like Cole Klebort, and we've had a coming together there, Conrad Bayer and the 557. That's Roland Kinch from the United Kingdom. So Conrad Bayer managed to get going again, as did Roland Kinch. But then the battle for third going on, and in the meantime, at the front of that, there's another spinner. Who is that? That's not Cole Klebort, is it? That is. He has gone 180 degrees the wrong way, going through turns 10 and 11. He tried to pick up the throttle, it spat the back end out. And he was left as a passenger, unfortunately. So that's dropped him way down the order. So again, right on its head. Junior Max has been thrown upside down and shaken around a bit. And now the cocktail shaker has definitely been brought out well and truly for DD2 and DD2 Masters. So at the front of the field, Zander Trivlak is leading by just over 7.5 tenths as Dionysius Liveris is trying to get his way past. Looks like Lasse Andreasen there in the 409. So the two leaders now make their way through into turn 7. So Trivlak being closed down by Remy. Gap now about 5 to 6 kart lengths. In third, that is Jan Negusens. So that's a good start from the young Belgian. Up from 6th place on the grid in the 490. So Cole Klebort now down in 17th position. Just seen Conrad Bayer come through turn number 7, now through turn 8. And then Roland Kinch also doing the same as well. So Remy not really letting Zander Trivlak get away with this, as Dionysius Liveris has now got past Lasse Andreasen and now is going after Jan Negusens for third place. As Jan Negusens, he's finding the back end is stepping out every time he's trying to punch the throttle. And it is about modulation, because you can brake, you can put the throttle down. In dry conditions it's fine because you know where your markers are. But in the wet, it's a completely different proposition altogether, as we've now got 8 minutes and 8 seconds plus an additional lap left to go in this penultimate DD2 and DD2 Masters race of the season. Leading in DD2 Masters, however, in 6th place is Christoph Leinen in the 588. So Carl Klebort has now gone up to 15th place. He started a recovery drive as the fastest baker in Flanders. But he was definitely the most spinning baker in Flanders a little bit earlier on through turns 10 and 11. But all being considered, the wet weather conditions haven't been kind to anybody today. As Liveris was trying to power past Jan Negusens, coming out of turn 9. Now into turn 10 they go. Liveris takes a little bit of a more tentative line as Gusens nearly gets sideways coming out of turn 11. But here comes Lasse Andreasen in the meantime. So he's kept them in his crosshairs. Gusens goes a little bit wider than Dionysius Liveris. Gusens gets a good run on that. Christoph Leinen is actually trying to keep pace with them as well. He isn't that far off. He's just done a 1 minute. He's just done a 1:16.2 as Christoph Leinens. And the reason for that is Gusens, Liveris, and Andreasen are all battling over third place. And Christoph Leinen now has a lead of over 1.75 seconds over Christoph Adams in the lead of in the classification for DD2 Masters. So at the minute between first and second, Zander Trivlak has bridged the gap to just under 1.1 seconds between himself and David Remy as Gusens, Liveris, Andreasen and Leinen go through turn number 7, and the moves happen. Liveris has got past Jan Negusens now. So Liveris has got past Gusens, and Gusens has gone wide through turn number 9. That could have opened the door for Lasse Andreasen for 4th place, but that wasn't the case there because Jan Negusens managed to shut the door on the exit of that corner. As Liveris now really trying to get away. He's trying to break that toe that Gustens will have, and Gustens has opened the door for Lasse Andreasen, who can't even capitalise, trying to put the power down, but he gets an absolute barnstorming run on Dionysius Liveris. Here we go. What's going to happen for third position? Oh no, Gustens couldn't put it up the inside. He had to go to the outside line to get the better purchase on the rain-soaked asphalt here, but Dionysius Liveris just had him measured, could read him like a book, and tore out a page in the process. Great driving there, hard, firm, but fair racing, as Gustens is not letting Liveris get away with it as they go through turn number 6. Two leaders still pretty much keeping each other honest, as Triblak just trying to consolidate what could be a comeback after a difficult weekend in Marienburg back in early July to retain his title. But I don't think he's going to start celebrating until the checkered flag waves in the last race of the season. As there we go, Lasse Andreasen trying to go round up the inside, and he's nearly side by side with Janne Gustens, and Gustens has to relinquish. And then in the meantime, up the inside of him, tries to go Christoph Leinen. They nearly bang side pods. And there we go, Leinen gets past Janne Gustens. Well timed by Christoph Leinen. He's been on absolute fire as the 588. He did a 1 minute 16.463 last time around. So Christoph Leinen still keeps... Well, no, he's actually been passed again by Janne Gustens. So Christoph Leinen is definitely making sure that, hey, if these young guys can have a bit of fun in the wet, so can I, as we've got yellow flags down towards turn number 10. So yellow flags there. Has someone gone off? I'm just keeping an eye on what's happening here, because there's been no changes. No, Walt and Tenissen showed us having dropped to place, but there are yellow flags down towards turn 10. That's no overtaking there, which has since been brandished back in by the marshal. And that's Wout Colson, I believe. That means that the 434 from Belgium's race has come to an abrupt end on lap number 5 here, as we're about to complete lap number 6. 3 minutes and 40, plus an additional lap left to go. As Zander Triblak crosses the line, and his gap between himself and David Remy will be 2.5 seconds. He's doing what he needs to do. Just keep on putting in the fast laps, and he's just put in the fastest lap of the race in 1 minute 14.289, and he's just taking casual glances over his left shoulder. So no, Wout Colson is still circulating and could very well find himself being lapped very shortly by Zander Triblak, as we've got just over 180 seconds plus one additional lap remaining in this race. So Christoph Leinen still leads, but it's only just over 4/10 off of Janne Gustens for what is on track position, as Zander Triblak now gets past, looks to be, yep, that's Wout Colson there in the 434. David Remy trying to chase the leader down, but we'll have to deal with this back marker in front, as we've got 2.5 minutes remaining. As Christoph Leinen and Janne Gustens still battling tooth and nail over, as it looks like Wout Colson has just pulled it into the pits there. That's a real shame for the Belgian. So Gustens is a little bit further adrift off of Lasse Andreasen, but I must be completely honest here that Christoph Leinen has been running quite comparatively on pace. Now, Christoph Leinen last time did a 1 minute 16.527. Janne Gustens 1 minute 16.601, so nearly a tenth quicker in the wet. So Dionysius Liveris trying to do what he can to consolidate a opportunity to take a title this year. He's been running also in the Rotax Max Euro Trophy this season with Dames Racing. But Zander Triblak definitely has got this one nailed to the mast in terms of his lead over David Remy. So Remy just keeping it calm, cool and collected in second position. Knows that he won't be able to catch up with Zander Triblak in time for this race to conclude, as we go into the last 75 seconds, plus an additional lap. So the two at the front just keeping it nice, cool, calm and collected. As DJ Liveris comes through turn 11, as does Lasse Andreasen, then Janne Gussens, and then Christoph Leinen. Then we got Sebastian de Grand, who rounds out the top 7. Jordi Klebold, son of Carl, has just been passed by, I think, well, he's behind Christoph Adams in the 555. So Christoph running in 8th, second in DD2 Masters. Fritz Wernsen running in the top 10, just behind Jordi Klebold, son of Carl, who is trying to make his way back up the field and is about 1.5 seconds behind Fritz Wernsen in 11th position. But that will put him 4th in the class, ahead of Michael Becker. Jamie Billings in 13th. Andreas Schindler, who won the Euro Trophy Open back. Oh, no, won the, actually at the kickoff here earlier on this year. He's 14th, ahead of Silvio Piperhato from Germany. Tamsin Germain has got up to, and that is the 5:15 there, and that is Andreas Schindler, so who's had a bit of a moment there, might have had a bit of an off-track excursion, as the clock has now counted down to 0. That is it. This time around, it is the final lap of the race, the penultimate race of the season, and Sander Schiblack will go into the last race of the year with complete and assured confidence. And his gap between himself and David Remy is now 3.9 seconds. Dionysius Liveris hasn't been able to push forward as might he hoped, but he is going to be in 3rd place as he crosses the line ahead of Lasse Andreasen, Janne Gussens, Christoph Leinen, and then Sebastian de Grand ran out the top 7, followed by the 555 of Christoph Adams. Jordi Klebold and Fritz Wernsen ran out the top 10. So Ronald Billings was a non-starter. Wout Colson has retired on lap number 6. Michael Becker in 12th behind Karl Klebold, who's closed up to Fritz Wernsen by half the gap that he had last time, which is over 0.7 of a second. So we've then got Silvano Piperhato now dropping down into 16th behind Tamsin Germain, who's made her way up into 15th on the road. But it makes her 6th in class. But this time around, Sander Schiblack consummately, comfortably wins the penultimate race of
straight as Charlie Turner trying to springboard his way to the lead. He nearly does it. He does now. That's a great move. Charlie Turner did a brilliant job just to hang on and just keep in front of everybody. And he kept in front of the lead. That's a brilliant job there from the vet. And that puts Steve McNulty, I think, just behind him in the 3:04 from the Netherlands. What a job.
From Charlie Turner. Just marking it on the run-off area. Tried to keep the inside line through the turn 3 and he got it done. Great job.
Making his way up into the top 10, and it's a dagger of about 5 to 6, maybe even make that 10 car from 5th onwards. Wobbling over position, it's two abreast, it's nearly 4 abreast coming out of turn 9, around about 7 to 8.
And McNulty now gets past Charlie Turner to take back the lead. He was on pole position, and now just behind the big 328 of Dylan Mahey, charging towards the front of Charlie Turner.
Oh no! Hepel goes spinning 180 degrees the wrong way, coming out of turn number 2. Richards is trying to move 6, and just forcing wide, and I think he's got right into the road there and putting straight into the cross track. So Hepel trying to drag that car as quickly as he can from the inside of turn 2. And the outside of turn 2, that's a real shame for the Frenchman. Battled so well there. Perfect score yesterday, 3 wins, and a put Mason Ravenscroft on the back foot. Ravenscroft is in the last qualification of the 8 hours today. With the pass of Mahaya, please thank you to his this race day.
It's definitely shoving it all back into the Mahay's lane. Well and truly, he's just saying, no sunshine, you will not getting past. And Mahey will find a way, but it's only a case of not in, it's going to be a case of when. Find that gap that he needs to get past Charlie Turner. Can't get through the running already, nothing happens in the meantime, but it is actually now. The Dylan Mahey nearly goes sideways, trying to go on the inside of Charlie Turner for second. Through turn 4, can't get through. So, Knowlton leads, Turner second, the Mahey.
Then got 116 back up into 5th place. Lorenzo Stock 6th. Lingard, Gilbert, Fox, Greenfield, Margaret, Poirier, Edmonds, Costain, Fleur. That's the top 15. And Charlie Turner really putting on his offensive display ahead of Dylan Mahey here in Belgium. And do you say the big side of the whack? Well, Charlie Turner was definitely, he said it, well, he said he was all day when I spoke to him this morning. Charlie, you're definitely right, you did take through, mate. So he's definitely putting on a
Very, very honest. Mahey is going to really have to try and find his way past the brick. It just depends where he can get the momentum and get the purchase. Francis Poirier from Russia, who is facing 93 points, coming out of turn number 10, and everyone has to avoid running out
We should have our sound back on the live stream. Don't know what happened there. It looks like the batteries failed on the receiver, so we should be up and running now. 1 minute and 13 to go, plus an additional lap. And we still have Mick Knowlton leading by a comfortable 2.76 seconds ahead of Dylan LaHaye. Charlie Turner running out the top three. Matilda Olsen still running on the Sodi Kart chassis. Running in fourth, ahead of Nelson King, Lorenzo Stolk, James Lingard, Lewis Gilbert, Ilian Brunseels, Fabian Bock. Tom Edmonds has now got past Felix Verger for 11th position. Patrick Rundqvist, Stormbroer and Eduardo Cosateng from the Philippines now is in 15th. Then it's Rees, Sang, Clinton, Plateau, De Hoys, Powell, Turiev, Rudenberg, Stemmerdink, Ossevarde, Van Kerkhoffen, Shogo and Hebel. So all drivers still circulating at the minute. Half a minute to go on the clock. So we should have plenty of things to talk about this afternoon, because this one takes us into the lunch break here. And there is still some battle still to be decided. There's a lot of people pretty much within close proximity, which includes Rundqvist, Varger, Edmonds, Breur, Rees, Cosateng, and that's for the bottom part of the. That's actually the bottom part of the top 16 here. So we have quite a lot to go, but the timer has now expired. This will be the penultimate lap, so Mick Knowlton comes into turn 10 for the penultimate time of this race, followed by GKS Lemons Power teammate Dylan LaHaye, Charlie Turner from Dan Holland Racing rounding out the top three. And then we've then got Nelson King making it another driver from Dan Holland Racing in fourth place, whilst there has been a battle, and Lorenzo Stolk has actually got past Matilda Olsen, who seemed to struggle going through turn 10. So Olsen now down into what is effectively 6th position. Then we've got James Lingard, Lewis Gilbert, Ilian Brunseels and Fabian Bock rounding out the top 10. So it's the final lap, and Mick Knowlton now is fast full throttling his way down into turn 6. Now down onto the back straight. And if we had a camera from what I'm actually seeing right now, Mick Knowlton is actually out-accelerating parallel road-going traffic as he goes into turn 7 for the final time. So Knowlton at the minute still has been resolute, got back in front of Charlie Turner to reassume the lead after Turner did a fantastic job and mugged everybody going into turn number 1. So just a couple of handfuls of corners to go for Mick Knowlton. He comes out of turn 11 for the final time. The short blast down to the final tightening right-hander that explodes outwards towards the start-finish line. And the checkered flag now waves for Holland's very own Mick Knowlton, who takes a commanding victory here. But it is game on. Advantage LaHaye, I feel, going into the afternoon, the final afternoon of the season, as he takes second. Charlie Turner must be really happy now he's got a third place. Great job on the start from that guy. Then we had Nelson King in fourth, Lorenzo Stolk pipping Matilda Olsen in the last couple of laps to take 5th place. Then we had James Lingard, Lewis Gilbert, Ilian Brunseels and Fabian Bock rounding out the top 10. As there are still squabbles to be decided as they cross the start-finish line. And we just wait for our final 2 competitors. So Knowlton takes it by 4.366 seconds. Charlie Turner in 3rd place. King in 4th. Stolk in 5th. Olsen in 6th with Lingard, Gilbert, Brunseels, Bock and Rundqvist rounding out the top 11. Felix Varger, Mads Rees, Stormbroer and Eduardo Cosateng are the top 15 in that race, with Edmonds, Clinton, Sang, De Hoys, Plateau, Powell, Rudenberg, Ossevarde, Turiev, Van Kerkhoffen, Stemmerdink, Shogo and Hebel rounding out the 28 strong.